A new exhibit has arrived in the Palmer Gallery, the art space between the atrium and the retreat in the College Center. Ode-o-fil, a collection of sound works that opened on February 11th, invites its visitors, who might normally be the viewers of the Palmer Gallery, to become listeners. Joseph Redwood Martinez, a sophomore at the college, compiled the show, which consists of 13 sound works by current and former Vassar students. He describes the artists as a diverse group with a variety of interests in arts and music.
There are very interesting things that are being done. There's something very cohesive about this show. There's something very cohesive about the group. But as a group of students, we're not all like pals who hang out and do theater together. There are some theater students, there are some music students, there are some fine art students. Very different background, but there is some coherence, some coherency to the work that's being created. So you don't need to be an art major, you don't need to be a music major and anything to participate in this show. This has nothing to do with what I do when I go to class.
The exhibit is somewhat interactive, inviting visitors to detach each iPod shuffle from the wall and walk about the gallery space. This format nods to the normal conventions of gallery exhibitions, but then draws attention to the particular ability of sound to define a space and span of time.
You can reach up, pull that iPod off the wall with your headphones on, and walk over to the bench and sit down and walk into a totally different area of the gallery, or walk around and move and feel your body moving through space, and close your eyes and move to a darker area of the gallery. Or how do I present sound on a wall? Instead of completely negating all of the gallery expectations, I've decided to start working with those. So you'll notice when you walk into the gallery that each piece is kind of lit like a painting. So it has a certain sense of placement. It has been placed in a certain order. Certain works go after and before other works. One work will start the show, one work will end the show.
The iPod shuffles were chosen as the conduit of each piece because of the information that they do not give away, specifically duration.
No, duration's all over the place. This piece right here is 2 minutes and 29 seconds long. That piece, over there, that piece right there is 57 minutes long. So there's no, as far as the works deal with duration, they didn't kind of cluster into this, common sense of time, this between 3 and 4 minute song duration. They really kind of skirted around that. Some of them are really beat driven, others are completely ambient, and within the ones that are ambient, we have street noises and we have very like nature noise. It's all over the place. So no, on a surface level, no, I don't think there is a certain common denominator that I can reduce all of these works down to.
Nick Nzuki, also known as DJ Olmec, instead of his usual remixes, remixed a poem and put it to music.
The idea is to remix a poem. So rather than remixing a song, which is really a popular trend right now, everybody and their mom is doing it, you take a poetry reading, which doesn't necessarily have any rhythmic content or any musical attributes to it beyond just the human voice, and you set it to music, time morph it so that it's said with a specific cadence, which might not be in the original reading, and basically produce a track from scratch to go behind it. And when you put all that together, it becomes something completely different from a poem. Yeah, I think it'll add a lot of contrast to the exhibit, and at the same time fitting in with everything. Won't be too much of an outlier.
Mark Van Hare, musical director of the Mahogany Ensemble, contributed an audiovisual work, Sheet Piece, that he created in collaboration with other members of the ensemble.
Is created by the musicians making these choices. And for the version that's up here, actually, we used a conductor, and that would be me. And what I do is with hand gestures, I tell them what to do, what tempo to come in at, what technique to use. And, the result is an 8-minute piece of music. And it's cool because each time we go through the piece, it sounds completely different than any other time, because the choices we make affect the music, and so that's a collective improvisation. I think that ideas are much easier to come by in a group, I think sort of the inception of an idea you can get on your own, but everybody brings their own life experiences and everybody brings their own, projects that they've worked on in the past and music they listen to and stuff. And so by getting in a room together and just devoting yourself to an idea and talking, I mean, I think that's the best way to create music. And again, it's called Sheet Piece because of a piece that a piece by the American composer Frederick Jeffsky. His piece, Le Mouton de Panurge, the sheep of the Panurge River. We used that as a model, and so we ended up calling it sheet piece because we didn't know what else to call it. The sheet piece is a legitimate piece of music. It's a piece of Western art music. I think it follows more the tradition of Western art music than it does anything else.
The show does not arrive at any restrictive definition of sound art. The term is even avoided.
I'm not really interested in drawing too many distinctions. I think they draw themselves. I had one student who kind of got in touch with me. He's like, well, mine is kind of music, and it's not really, I don't know what you mean by sound art. And I was just like, you know what, just concentrate more on the piece, and we'll think about how we're going to classify it later on. I don't think there was anyone who, in the process of making their piece, was actually thinking of the words sound art.
I think that all has to do with performance practice. Anything from, chairs on stage, the conductor walking in and taking a bow, and all that stuff, and when you clap and when you don't clap, all that stuff is all determined by basically just Western performance practice, what we've been doing forever. And one of the things that modern composers have been doing is challenging that. In addition to writing new music, they also challenge the way that new music is listened to.
I think those words are horribly vague and really problematic. And I particularly, in any written materials that I've put out, I have avoided the word sound art. I say sound works, audiophile, things like that, but I don't go sound art, 13 pieces, go, you know what I mean?
Something you listen to. I don't know, a piece of art perceived with your ears rather than your eyes. How's that?
Sure.
I'm going to avoid the definition of art there altogether.
The exhibition will be open in the Palmer Gallery until February 22nd.
They're beautiful works. They're pieces, all of them, each one of them demands patience, but it also, the kind of works that you want to listen to once and then again and again and again and again, and you really just want to kind of sit into them. They're not mundane. They're not banal. They're quite delicious.